everyone. Welcome to another edition of 2A Arsenal Roundup News. My name is Richard Espinoza, and I am your host. 2A Arsenal Roundup News is your primary source for Second Amendment news, whether it be good, bad, or ugly, whether it will help benefit your Second Amendment rights or cause an effect on your Second Amendment rights in blue states or red states. We keep you informed and give you the best information as possible. Today we're going to be talking about a breaking news. As of yesterday, on September 13th, the Firearms Policy Coalition, along with the other plaintiffs of Gun Owners of America, Gun Owners of California, the California Rifle Pistol Association, the NRA, will be filing suit against Gavin Newsom and California Attorney General Rob Bonta in a case called James versus Bonta. This case will be on the Glock ban. For those of you who are Glock owners in California, you have nothing to worry about now because the Firearm Policy Coalition will be filing a suit against both Gavin Newsom and Rob Bonta to put a halt to it. I got this information from a press release from the Firearm Policy Coalition. So for those of you who want to stay informed on this, I'm even going to read you the press release, what is written, so you get a clear understanding on what is going on with this case and what the plaintiffs will be doing and the arguments that they will make to show that what Newsom and Bonta has done is totally 100% unconstitutional. So I have the press release right here, and you can look on the screen, and this is what it says. The Firearm Policy Coalition, joined by the National Rifle Association, the Second Amendment Foundation, and 3 FPC members, today filed a major new federal lawsuit in James versus Bonta to block the California's unconstitutional ban on Glock and Glock-style handguns, some of the most popular firearms in America. The full compliance is available at firearmspolicy.org, and I will have a link down below where you could read more about this case and what they're planning on to do. Then it says, the move to strike down the new law comes just 3 days after California Governor Gavin Newsom signed Assembly Bill 1127 into law. Under AB 1127, California firearm dealers will be prohibited from selling a broad class of popular, constitutionally protected semi-automatic handguns, including Glocks. Jameson versus Bonta builds on the JPC's important ongoing Rena versus Bonta lawsuit, which seeks to strike down the entire California handgun roster ban that prevents the sales of many other popular handguns in the Golden State. As detailed in the James complaint, the plaintiffs challenged California's Penal Code 27595, which bans the sale or transfer of Glock or Glock-style handguns with the confirmed trigger bars. These handguns are commonly used. Indeed, they are among the most popular firearms in the nation. The filing explains, if the law takes effect, California will have no particular way of requiring them, a direct violation of the Second Amendment. The Constitution does not allow elitist politicians to decide which constitutionalities protected guns the people may own. And California doesn't get to tell people that their rights end where Governor Newsom's territorial anti-Second Amendment policies began. Every American has a right to choose the tools they trust and to defend their lives and liberty. We took it forward to ending this insanely unconstitutional scheme, just as we had with many others, said FPC President Brandon Combs. So also There's also Arena versus Bonta. We'll talk a little bit about that real quickly. There are other handguns in California that have been banned other than just Glock. From what I understand, the Ruger semi-auto pistols are no longer allowed in California because they don't pass the drop test. Neither is Kel-Tec, and neither is the Taurus 1911s. So there are certain guns on the handgun roster that are been banned in California. So the Firearm Policy Coalition will be fighting that as well, as saying that this is a violation of the Constitution, that the government in the state, federal, or local level does not have a right to tell people what guns they can and cannot own. So that's why they're going to try to eliminate this roster. But I'd like to elaborate a little bit about what Newsom just did. This is not the first time that Gavin Newsom has done something like this. And obviously Gavin Newsom still hasn't learned his lesson. He obviously had not learned his lesson about Proposition 15. For those of you from the older generation, you probably remember Proposition 15 in 1982, where they tried to make handguns illegal in California, or for that matter, you had to register your handguns, and they will decide what handguns are suitable for you to own and what not to own, which was a clear violation of the Constitution. It was led by, also who led the fight on No on 15 was the founder of Gun Owners of America, the late California State Senator H.L. Bill Richardson. So overwhelmingly in 1982, by a 68% vote, Proposition 15 did not pass. And the reason why Proposition 15 started in the first place, it was all connected to what happened to then San Francisco Mayor George Gascon, who was assassinated by Danny White. And this was led by none other than who was then City Council and then Mayor Dianne Feinstein, who ended up becoming the Senator of the United States. Since then, Dianne Feinstein, until the days of her last lives, was on a crusade to destroy our Second Amendment rights because of this incident. But let's also talk about how Newsom didn't learn his lesson after that. One of the things that Newsom did when he was the mayor of San Francisco, he attempted to pass Proposition H, which was totally unconstitutional and it was totally illegal to begin with, and here's why. First of all, it is not within the jurisdiction of local government to pass to allow a proposition to go on a ballot. It has to be approved by the state. And that was some of the arguments that gun rights groups had made to challenge Proposition H. Unfortunately, at that time, Proposition H was overwhelmingly passed. But unfortunately, people who voted for Proposition H did not know the real details and the truth. If Proposition H were become law in the city of San Francisco, it would be illegal to own handguns in your own home. And you had to go through registration. However, it got challenged in court. And the judge in the case invalidated Proposition H, telling Newsom and his lawyers that, first of all, you don't have the authority to do that. It has to be done under state legislation, not local government legislation. So in this case, what the city of San Francisco did was illegal. It should not have happened in the first place, and then Newsom ended up getting sued. And he settled out of court, I believe, with the California Rifle Pistol Association and Gun Owners of California and the other litigants in the case, and also one of them was the Pink Pistols, who was heavily involved in this case. And for those of you who don't know who the Pink Pistols are, they are a gay gun rights organization, and I proudly donated money to them to fight Proposition H. I donated $20 to them back then, and I'm very proud that I did. You know, and even though I am a straight person, and I am straight, and what they do in their bedrooms is their business, not mine. But but I focus on their constitutional rights. And their constitutional rights is that they have a right to own a handgun and right to protection, because we know that usually people who are gay or lesbian are going to be a target of a hate crime. So therefore they have that equalizer to protect them. But it goes to show you again that Newsom has not learned his lesson, and he probably never will. But I believe that this will be a slam dunk case against Newsom. I'm very confident that the Firearm Policy Coalition, along with Gun Owners of America, the National Rifle Association, along with Gun Owners of California, and the California Rifle Association, they're all going to prevail in this case, as well as the Second Amendment Foundation. They will prevail in this because they have enough evidence that this is unconstitutional. And the reason why Newsom signed this law to begin with, because it deals with the Glock switches. And for those of you who don't know what the Glock switches are, first of all, the Glock switch is illegal to begin with. No law-abiding citizen is going to buy one. If you're a law-abiding citizen, chances are law-abiding citizens are not going to buy a Glock switch. Maybe a criminal, but not a law-abiding citizen. You can buy the Glock switches from the dark web, and that's what most people do. They buy them from the dark web. They buy them from either from China or from other countries, and they mail them. And for some reason or another, they're able to get it past postal inspectors to sell it to the person that they're going to sell it to. But regardless, as far as I'm concerned, people should legally own one, because the Constitution says what it says and says what it means. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That means if you own a machine gun, semi-auto, it don't matter. Arms are arms. And unfortunately, because of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who passed the National Firearms Act, machine guns have been demonized by him. And because it was the weapon of choice by the Chicago gangsters. So again, these Glock switches can be bought from the dark web. And in some states, some states do allow them, even though you're not supposed to have them because of the ATF. Although the ATF, we all know, are unelected bureaucrats who are not allowed to make laws, but they end up doing it. And that's one of the reasons why Gun Owners of America and other gun rights organizations are constantly going to court all the time because of them. But this is an important case to follow, and especially for those of you who live in blue states. If you live in Massachusetts or New York or in Illinois or any blue state that you live in, this is important to follow, because if Gavin Newsom gets away with this means this will lead the charge for blue states to do the same thing. Because keep in mind, these blue state governors are watching this case. So if Gavin Newsom loses this case, and more than likely he will, and more than likely both him and Rob Bonta will be defeated on this case. But just in case, let's say that if Newsom prevails, then that's going to spell disaster. That means other states will follow as well. And neither one of us can afford that as law-abiding citizens. But the problem is that these politicians simply want to blame law-abiding citizens for a criminal's wrongdoing. And you're not responsible for what criminals do. And they look for any excuse to violate our constitutional rights. And keep in mind, a lot of these Democrats, they are bought and paid for by these gun control groups, by the Brady Campaign, the Violence Policy Center, the Southern Poverty League, Moms Demand Action, and Every Town for Not So Gun Safety, especially by Michael Bloomberg and George Soros. These politicians are paid off by them, are bought by them to pass infringements towards our constitutional rights. So this is a case that everybody should follow and watch. And this also is also a reminder to you that you need to call your state senators, you need to call your Congress, you need to call your U.S. senator or whoever your legislators are, and tell them that what California is doing is unconstitutional, and that you're concerned that this could happen in your state if for some reason or another that Newsom or Bonta become successful, but more than likely they will not. I would say there's a 98% chance that both Bonta and Newsom are going to lose this case. I'm very confident that they are going to lose this case. Could there be at least a 2% chance they might pull it off? Maybe. It depends on who the judge is. And if it becomes an activist judge, then the next step would be the Supreme Court. So, and if it goes to the Supreme Court, then definitely we'll win, because we definitely have the right justices within the court system and the Supreme Court. But this is a reminder to you, for those of you that live in blue states, especially New Jersey and Virginia. You two are fighting against two anti-gun candidates. You have Abigail Spanberger from Virginia, who will be challenging Winston Sears. So it's important that Winston Sears becomes elected in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And then, of course, you have that one Democrat from New Jersey who's very corrupt, and she has violated illegal insider trading. She too will continue Phil Murphy's unconstitutional gun bans if she gets elected. So it's important that you make sure that these people do not win election. So that is why you need to take the time to talk to your congressman, your U.S. senator, or your state legislators, and tell them that you are concerned about this. And if this were to happen in your state, that you will do everything within your power to make sure that either they get voted out or it goes to court. So hopefully that if the Firearm Policy Coalition and Gun Owners of America become successful, and more than likely they will, this will send a clear message to the blue states that you cannot infringe upon constitutional rights. And because of this Glock switch that Newsom is so concerned about, you know that law-abiding citizens are not going to dare to buy a Glock switch because they don't want to get arrested or they want to deal with the ATF. Although personally, I feel it's their right that they should have one. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm when it comes to Second Amendment rights, I'm 100% no compromise. It doesn't matter what gun it is, full auto, semi-auto, it's your constitutional right. And they don't have a right to tell you what you can own and what you can't own. Because I am 100% stickler on the Constitution. I believe in no compromise, no cut deals. I defend the Constitution with my every ounce last of my breath. So it's important that we follow up on this case, and it's important that you do your part. Because remember, you're your own worst enemy if you don't vote. And if you don't vote, then you have nobody to complain to but yourself. That's why voting is important. That is why you need to partake into the process and system and get involved and be active. That is why you got to take a few minutes of your time to talk to your legislators. Get together with your fellow gun owners and talk to them, talk to your friends and family who own guns, and tell them, it doesn't matter whether you like Glock or you don't like Glock. A ban against one handgun will be a ban against all. Okay, I know there's some people who are not maybe the biggest fans of Glock, but you understand the freedom aspect of it. Because if they can ban Glock, then they might ban the Smith & Wesson M&P or the Springfield Armory XD. Because eventually these black marketers are going to probably invent Glock similar switches to Glock for those type of firearms. And you have, of course, Glock clones out there that would be able to use the Glock switch as well. But again, this is an important case we must win. So that is it for today for 2A Arsenal Roundup News. If you have any important legislation that I should know about and you want to bring it to my attention so I can bring it on to my next podcast, please feel free to send me an email at rjespinoza, that's rjespinoza .roundupnews@gmail.com. Tell me what state you're from. Tell me what the legislation is about. Will it affect your gun rights? Will it cause harm to your gun rights? Will it benefit your gun rights? Let me know what this is about. I'll look into it, and then I will be sure to do a podcast on it in the future. So please, again, feel free to send me an email. Let me know if you also like my shows, if you like what I do, have any questions. So also please give a like on my videos. If you're watching my videos, please give a like and please subscribe. And also spread the word. Tell your friends, your family about me, what I do, and because that's what I'm here for. I am your voice for Second Amendment rights. So tune in to my show, and I also encourage you to tune in to other members of the 2A community, people like Jarrett from Guns and Gadgets, Mark W. Smith from Four Boxes Diner, Liberty Doll, the Armed Attorneys, and John Crump. And there are many others out there to follow as well. But these are the ones I follow the most. So, just take the time, see what's up and find out what's going on, because the only way you're going to be informed on what's going on with your rights is if you check in with us. And that's what we're here for. And that's what I'm here for. Because it helped me help you be your voice. Well, until then, be armed, be vigilant, carry a firearm to protect your family, your home, and your community. Because remember, the Second Amendment is all about freedom. It's not just about guns, it's about freedom. And gun control is not just about gun control, it's about controlling you. Don't let them do it. Have a great day, my fellow Americans.